Everything you believe you know about Okja is a lie.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frankenstein's podcast, where it's all about the monster. We are a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Praska, and with me is...
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
What's going on, Khalid?
Oh, just doing my thing, which today consists of, because doing my thing could be a lot of things. So specifically,
a lot of stuff.
Today, my thing was meal prepping with my lady. That was a fun way to spend the day. It was our first time doing that together. I kept being like, yes, chef, whenever she would ask me to do stuff. That was a fun bit, just in case you guys were wondering if I'm this quirky off mic, I am. But yeah, that was what I did. And now I have meals for the next 4 days. I'm very hyped.
Wow. What's the one you're most looking forward to?
Ooh, that's a good question. Most looking forward to? I'm probably like all of them. I'm really looking forward to some capacity, but we made these like egg bites with like some mushrooms and some stuff. And then like, I've got some like chicken sausage patties and some biscuits. I'm like, that's going to be such a good breakfast. And then the other breakfast is some oatmeal we made with like flax seeds and stuff. And I was just like, I come from an instant oatmeal background, so this is really just like a life of luxury.
Damn.
Yeah. So I could go on and on, but sorry, I hit my water bottle and it freaked me out.
It freaked you
out. Anyways, Joe, what about you? How are you doing?
I'm good. I don't think I really did anything cooler than you with meal prepping, but I did meal planning today.
Yeah?
Yeah, I planned some meals. I am pretty excited about a crab seafood mix enchilada that I'm going to make. So I'm kind of excited for that.
What's meal planning? Because I mean, I thought meal prepping was as far as it went. Like, is it like ideally, I'll have this on this date?
Meal planning is just me planning out the meals and then going to buy the ingredients, and then that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I got them ready.
That's ambitious. I don't ever like, I'm just now like kind of getting responsible with like meals and stuff like that. But like, even so, meal prepping is kind of the most I'm willing to commit to. I don't think I could ever be like, oh, I'm going to make this on this day. I don't, I'm putting a lot on myself then.
Hard disagree. I think the meal prepping is harder. I can't, it's hard to find time to commit like multiple hours in one day to make all of that stuff. I could be like, I'm gonna spend like 30 minutes making that on Wednesday. I could do that.
I don't know, man. I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. It's like, yeah, I've got a couple of hours in the next few hours. I can't be like, oh yeah, I know I'll be alive next Thursday. Like, what? I'm not gonna like commit to like all these meals and stuff like that.
Is that really fly by the seat of your pants though? I think mine is more fly by the seat of your pants. I'm just gonna make it as I go. You prepped it.
That's fair. I mean, but no, that's the prepping is fly by the seat of my pants because it's like, yeah, just in case I've got all these like pre-made meals ready to go for like all the seat of my pants flying.
Speaking of flying pants, Khalid.
Yeah.
We got a guest today.
Hell yeah, we do.
Yes. Very early on supporter of the podcast, good friend of ours, Jake Kohl is here with us to finally step into the role of a guest host. Welcome to the podcast, Jake.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. How are you doing, Jake?
I'm doing all right. It's nice and cool in this in my garage here. That's the only space I can be able to chat here at a normal volume and not sound like a hushed parent trying to make sure the toddler doesn't wake up. So it's nice out here. Otherwise,
I feel that. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for making space and time to talk monsters with us.
Oh, definitely. I feel like this is almost like overdue.
Agreed.
I really love the giant black tarp in the background for Jake. I think this might be our first like garage guest.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of it. It's just it brings a lot to the. I know this isn't a visual medium in terms of like what people are going to get at the end of it, but for me, who gets to see Jake's background, it's very very fun.
Yeah, that was intentionally planned to set up the set here. It looks like going with the horror theme of you know,
Got
what
an
is it?
art
Like,
department.
yes, the art department. We'll go with that. So, yeah, but in reality, it
Nice,
also,
nice.
It
Yeah,
is,
doubles
yeah.
it
as
is
a
very
walking thing
horror-esque.
for our garage sale.
Just based on like the axis or whatever that you're sitting on too, like it looks like perfectly set up behind you that it could be a fake like Zoom background. Do you see what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
had
Joe?
Yeah.
4 years to prep that, figure that out.
I love it. I love it. Jake, I know you're a listener, so you're ready for this, but I got a couple new guest questions for you.
Yes, hit me.
All right. Number 1/2. So kind of two in one question. In all of pop culture, movies, books, comics, video games, anything, what is your favorite monster or creature? And if it isn't the same, what would you think is the scariest for you?
Yeah, my favorite would have to be. I'm a boring person, and just it's Pikachu. Just from Pokemon, like just straight up, like the familiar mascot of Pokemon. Can't go wrong with it. I go out of my way to go catch the special event ones in Pokemon Go when those events happen. So Pikachu is definitely a favorite. Obviously, it's a long time franchise that keeps me coming around, even if the formula is the same year by year by year by year. So, but there's just something nice about tapping into that childhood. Those childhood hobbies and memories there. But I was thinking about it a little bit and was like, way back when we were in school together, middle school, that time frame, like Digimon was also the rage, and um, I think as a kid I liked that one better. But
Digimon.
Yeah.
Pokemon just stood the test of time for longevity and popularity and that such. But obviously Pikachu's not a scary monster here, so might be for Team Rocket, but
For
we won't
you.
go into that type of thing. But well, for scares, I actually had to think about this because
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
like
A rat that
huge
can
into.
electrocute you is pretty scary.
Yeah, and it's a decent size. Like I don't know if you've seen a Pikachu in the
Yeah, it's
show,
not like
but I
rat
mean, it's not like
sized
it.
either. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, it's and then they just get bigger. But
Yeah.
scariest though, I would have to, I would have to say, I had to think about this because I'm not a big into like the horror genre and that such. So it's not like necessarily my wheelhouse. And then when it comes to sci-fi, like I'm not this. I've never watched any sci-fi that really invoked like the horror aspect. I'd say Alien probably would be the only movie that I've seen that's invoked like that horror aspect of it. But I
Mhm.
would say that um, what really like scared the shit out of me was the flood from Halo. The first time playing through that game back in like sixth grade and
Oh,
just
yeah.
going deep into that uh, ruins or whatever, and then all of a sudden they just came out of nowhere and like they were scary for a sixth grader like me at that point too. So I remember that
Yeah.
haunting some dreams the first time I saw them, and eventually just became a video game. But at that point, I'd say that would be the one that had the most impact on me from a scare perspective.
It's a good answers. I know you said Pikachu's not the most like original, it's boring, but I don't think anyone else has said Pikachu before on the podcast, right?
No.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah.
Next question. What do you consider yourself to be most geeky about?
Yeah, I used to be like a hardcore Pokemon Go player, going back to the Pokemon kind of theme thing. Like when that came out in 2016, it was like my life was dedicated to it at that point. Like going around like late at night, just trying to find the coolest Pokemon that such. And when they introduced ways that you can throw your money in, I was one of those whales for a while. So that was it was definitely one of those that money probably could have been spent better, but it was fun adventures and really tapped into that childhood nostalgia at that point. But um, Now, a lot less casual on that, and what's really been occupying my mind has been running. It's something that I've picked up and embraced over the last 4 or 5 years or so, and I'm actually just finishing up a marathon training cycle. So next weekend will be a marathon race for me. So that's something that I could talk
Oh,
about
hey,
running
congrats.
very long time.
Wow. What marathon?
This one will be Lake Wobegon, so down in St.
Lake
Cloud area. So it'll be a nice little drive down from here in North Dakota, and then I'll run that on that very flat bike trail, and hopefully it's speedy and I don't die.
Cool.
Fingers crossed.
Clete and I should go there with like Frankenstein's podcast, like merch and like say "Go Jake" and stuff.
So wait, are we selling merch or are we supporting Jake?
Both,
Oh, okay.
but we should do it. That'd be fun.
Yeah, just get little like patches, and then you can just hand them out to runners as they go by, or like water bottles.
We could be your
Frankenstein's podcast
sponsor. Like you could wear us as like a sponsor.
Oh, like NASCAR
Yeah.
style?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get those
Oh, I
Patreon
like that.
dollars
You're
for
like-
usage.
Yes. You'll be the official Franken runner. That's what we're going with, Clete.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we didn't really do a committee or anything on this. I don't know how I feel about it.
We'll work on that title offline.
We'll workshop it, I guess. Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Focus group it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks, Jake, for answering the questions. I'm really excited for you to be here finally after being a fan for so long. And again, just being friends for so long. It'll be fun to dig into this movie. But before we do, I do have a question for you, Khalid.
What?
If a pig wants to learn magic, where does it go?
If a pig wants to learn magic, where does he go? Hogwarts?
Yeah, it's Hogwarts. And that's a segue, Khalid. What are we talking about today?
That was like like the lowest hanging of fruits.
Speaking of fruits, Khalid, what are we talking about today?
If anyone wants to learn magic, they go to Hogwarts. It's not pig specific, other than it has hog in the name.
I mean, that's the point. It's a pun.
Yeah, I thought you were going to
That's how
say
puns
to
work.
go read the
Lazily.
book Magical
Anyways.
Creatures and Where to Find Them.
Wait, what? Read what?
Read Magical Creatures and Where to Find Them.
Oh, Fantastic Beasts. Yeah, that's right. The pig. I mean, one might say, yeah, Fantastic Beasts actually might have been a good pun to have with it because this is a fantastic beast in this movie.
There's a lot you should have probably done.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, anyway, that was
Thanks, Joe. Today we are talking about the 2017 Bong Joon-ho film Okja. And I've got a synopsis from our homeboy Google that goes a little something like this. For 10 idyllic years, young Mija has been caretaker and constant companion to Okja, a massive animal and an even bigger friend, at her home in the mountains of South Korea. But that changes when family-owned multinational conglomerate Mirando Corporation takes Okja for themselves and transports her to New York, where an image-obsessed and self-promoting CEO has big plans for Mija's dearest friend. With no particular plan but single-minded in intent, Mija sets out on a rescue mission.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
Boom. That was a long one, Khalid.
I mean, like this is pre-Chat GPT descriptions. I feel like there's some substance to those. Like they at least attempt to do something.
Yeah, it was good. All right, so let's just dig into some thoughts. Jake, you kind of steered us toward this movie. Had you seen it before this, or was it just something you wanted to see?
I have not seen it. I haven't actually seen any films by this director, but been interested. Admittedly, as a Korean, I will claim onto that identity a claim there. But this movie was something that seemed a little interesting, but I did not realize the depth that it was going to go into. So this was really a surprise when it came to starting to watch it the other night with my wife, and we were like, is this going to be a lot more serious than than we thought this would be? And sure enough, it was that. So
So give us some of your thoughts, Jake. What did you think about it with this first time viewing?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love the slower paced movies. Just with the way that movies are lately, like you just try to cram in as much as you can, and you feel like you're going scene to scene. But this, every scene here just felt like it was taking its time and um, really was really doing something to build out this world because that's pretty close to what we could imagine, but obviously there's some parts that just felt really, really out there. Certainly, like the mountain where Misha's home is at, and how it seemed to be just like a magical place that is a mystery to get to, and that's such. And then certainly when we get to some of the later scenes, that's something straight out of a like a sci-fi horror genre type of thing. So very a lot of world building in very subtle ways. But I think that there's some areas where they almost could have gone a little bit deeper and like fleshing out some of the characters. But it was something that they did a really good job for some characters, and some you kind of wondered why were they there in the first place. But it was overall really good. I really enjoyed it, and certainly there was a lot more nuance to it than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I kind of like how you point out the mountaintop home, Misha's home is kind of has this almost like mystic quality to it where it's just like pristine, feeling like untouched. And the way it's shot is just really vibrant. I remember just noting right away in the beginning, like this is just such a vibrantly shot movie. Like the colors just pop so much more than like many movies you watch, but it's got a fairy tale-esque quality to it, especially in the beginning. And just like overall, like general bare bones narrative, there's like a fairy tale piece to it, like a young girl going to reunite with her missing like magical creature, basically. Yeah, that's great points. Khalid, how about you? What do you think? Have you seen this before?
Yeah, great points, Jake. And thank you, Joe. I have seen this before, but I realized halfway through that I had never actually finished it before.
Ooh.
I think it's a movie I've like started 3 times and just like for one reason or another, like I just never made it. Like I distinctly remember all the stuff that happens on the mountain. And then from there, I just kind of lose the plot with all of the like kidnapping and who's doing what for what reason. So this is kind of the first time I like intentionally like, and even this time actually, I watched half of it in the morning and then I had to go do stuff and then I finished it.
Huh.
So I've never sat all the way through Okja technically. And I think that kind of foreshadows like my take on it. Jake, it's interesting you say you've never seen any Bong Joon-ho movies because like I would say that this is, while an overall good movie, probably in the lower tier of like his filmography for me. Highly recommend some of his other stuff like Parasite and The Host are both really good. Snowpiercer's pretty good too. But I think for me, it boils down to like Bong Joon Ho is a super talented director, but like English is not his first language, and I don't think that he is even fluent in it. Like he doesn't speak it. He always has a translator, at least when I've seen him in interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know, with Snowpiercer, his other big like English speaking movie that he did, you kind of see like the limitations of that. He still does pretty well overall with Snowpiercer, but like I think that like the added like flex of trying to make this like hyper realistic like not real creature in like every scene and still make it look like amazing and like it's actually there, which he does. We'll get into that. But I feel like that was just like a really ambitious juggling act that ultimately made the story kind of suffer for me. Felt like whereas usually like the stories that he chooses are usually like they flow like water, like it's really seamless. Like you go to crazy places but it never feels unearned and it always feels like wow, like that like I was really brought here but with a deft hand, like with like a really like astute vision. And with this one it just felt like stuff was kind of happening to happen. um you know, like, and it felt like I didn't want it to be like a YouTube critic kind of thing of just like plot wise, why did this have to happen? Like, no, I get it. Like, stuff has to happen so a movie can happen, but also, like, why doesn't like the company just have like all of the super pigs still on like farms they own in like just nearby? Why do they just give it to a dude in a mountain that seemingly otherwise doesn't work for them? Like just things like that just like feel like he wanted to do something and Netflix gave him a bunch of money and he did what he wanted to, and it just wasn't necessarily like the end result wasn't exactly like a 10 out of 10 movie for me. But yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. We'll get into like the specifics of stuff. But what about you, Joe?
That's interesting you say that. I actually feel like some of the stuff you're saying you didn't like were things that really drew me in. I think the sort of like almost like I said before, it's like there's this fairy tale element to it that just never parts of it never feel quite real, and then there are parts that feel like heavily real, like the slaughterhouse sequence in the end. It feels like really heavy and just
It's
hard.
super heavy, yes.
But then there's just like these other pieces, like this mystical. The mountain feels mystical. There's other parts that just feel like you're watching, like a ancient, like a myth being told to you in a sense. And I feel like that's what that was appealing to me. I think that was cool. Like you saying, like things just kind of happening. That's kind of like how like older fantasy stories were kind of told, where they're on an adventure and would just kind of encounter things along the way of that adventure. And like in a sense, it all serves the grander plot in some way. And I really I liked that mode of storytelling here, and I think it worked. I think it's just the tone is so like wildly inconsistent in a way that I really thought was a lot of fun. Like you can like have these like absurd, farcical, like laugh out loud moments with like Jake Gyllenhaal gyrating on stage with a weird voice, right? But then some just like sweet, touching moments, and I don't think that's like a problem with the tone of being like, oh, they didn't know what they wanted to do. I just feel like Bong Joon-ho has this like unique talent to really capture that, what kind of like life sort of feels like, in a sense. Like you could find something absurdly funny and also be really depressed like a couple minutes later, like that is captured here in a lot of ways that I think was really powerful. And like just the element of the creature, like, yeah, there's like, I think that like you pointed out, like, why did they give him to these random farmers? Like, it's a PR stunt, of course, like she kind of masks it as that, but like, yeah, there's problems, and leads to problems in the company. But there was like a theme, of course, of like this like anti capitalism theme that's really runs through a lot of Bong Joon-ho's movies that is pretty thick here, very thick, and I think that's fine for what the story is trying to tell. So I liked all of that stuff. I liked the creature. I think the relationship at its core between Mija and Okja is very touching. I think this kind of idea of like, her being like this sort of kind of picture of innocence, living in this like withdrawn place, having to get tangled up into like these different factions vying for like something that's well above her, and she's just like, I want my best friend back, like that at its core is a really interesting story, with all these other like machinations happening, and like her just being like, this is my reality. So it's interesting, like there's an element of things kind of happening to her, but then at the same time she's like, she has her own like motivation and plot outside of everyone else.
There's a plot and a motivation, sure, but like there's not really like an arc there, nothing to sink your teeth into, you know what I mean? Like she's more or less the exact same character at the end, except now she has an extra pig.
I know, but that's fine though, right? Like,
no, that's fine. Like it's not like every character has to go through the hero's journey or whatever, but you kind of sometimes hope the hero does.
Maybe, but I don't think they always need to.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but like it just speaks to like the whole movie for me of like what was any of the characters' arcs. You know what I mean? Like it really just felt like a series of events that just like unfolded the way they were gonna, and then the like people just kind of returned to the status quo.
Sure, I do think that was a little bit of the point, though.
That might be the point, but that's not like an entertaining experience. Like you get where I'm coming from. Like everything happened exactly the way it was gonna happen.
I mean,
I wonder if the point is more of like like less of an entertainment and kind of more of the social commentary thing, where like it was very
Yeah,
clear
I
that
see.
like no one was like a
That's what I
good
see what you're
person
saying, Jake.
except
Yeah.
for Misha and Okja. Yeah.
I mean, I loved a lot of the movie. Like, I don't want this to be like a whole episode of me like poo pooing this thing. Like, it was, I would say like my favorite part of it that like I keep coming back to each time I've seen it is like I really love the opening sequence, and I wish the whole movie was just like this story of like a girl and her pig in the mountains, and like they just kind of did something more there. Cause like it really feels like once like you get to like even Soul, it starts like stretching like the limitations of the technology, which like as good as they are, it's still you're still just kind of just watching like a CGI not real thing like run. I don't know, like it felt very like Clifford the Big Red Dog energy at times. And
Mm.
like depending on like the extras you got, like they were really bad at like interacting with the thing in any way that made you think it was there. I'm just saying, like a hippo the size of an elephant would get a lot more reactions. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, lots of really good scenes, lots of really great performances. But like Gyllenhaal, didn't you feel like I don't know, like if just give that character to a Korean guy and it would fucking sing. But like with Gyllenhaal doing it, it feels like Gyllenhaal's like impression of a Korean character.
Huh. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. He was certainly doing something, but I don't know what he was doing.
It just felt culturally specific, but not to his culture.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to speak to like what Jake was saying too, and like what you're saying, like the things kind of get put back the way that they were, plus the extra pig. Like there's this like the bittersweet element of it. Like she completes her journey. She gets her friend back. She like the fairy tale part of it's complete, right? The fantasy element of it's complete. The adventure, but the this like notion that like the production of the super pigs basically as meat is continuing. Everyone else is happening, and it's there's this like this corporate element, like, oh, we saw this horrible footage, everyone saw this, everyone watched this, and everyone's with PR nightmare. But it's like, okay, it basically blows over the next day. Selective like memory, the collective consciousness, like it blows over by just being like, well, that meat's cheap and good, and I'm going to buy it because that's convenient for me, right? Like all of that is like, I think it's pretty hard hitting stuff. Like I think it's done really well, and it's also just like the whole element of this corporation, like sort of like weaponizing the things that we want as a consumer. Like, oh, it's all like natural, raised by farms. Like you see like companies selling food right now that'll say like fresh, and like fresh means nothing. It's a thing that we like or we want it to say, but it's a marketing tactic now. Like they're using things that we would like as marketing tactics. And I mean, that's how marketing work. I'm just explaining it. But like, it just, I feel like the movie does a really good job just really showing how like the Tilda Swinton character, like how that the wheels turn on that process, you know, and like fooling us and like blowing, like having things blow over, and like things that we know happen over and over again. I don't know. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense. Jake, you want to weigh in here? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that the social commentary was the primary driver, and I think what made it really fascinating was the way that the characters were exaggerating these things, and yet when you think back, like we're all in agreement on, like if you look back at the movie, what changed in the end? A CEO stepped down, and the corporation got taken over by the twin, who was the same actor. So, but and then
That says something
there's a
itself.
baby pig. Yeah, and then there's a baby pig that's in the picture in Korea now, and now that pig gets to grow up and be the second best pig because they get to run around. But yeah, I think it's very interesting that um, but yeah, I think it's very interesting that the characters are so expressionate, but I just don't know what it meant.
For the record, I just want to say I understand that like nothing changes is the point of the movie. That was not lost on me. I don't want it to be like, oh, like nothing even changed for anybody. Like,
Khalid doesn't get movies.
yeah, I watched the movie, guys. I understand that aspect of it. I mean, more specifically, like on a character to character basis, it just feels like everybody was like put on one course and just kind of followed it all the way to its logical conclusion.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I guess it's your mileage on that would be how much of that you can kind of take or tolerate, or how much you appreciate that kind of a story in a sense.
And it wasn't necessarily like a bad thing at any point. Like,
Mhm.
I really thought the slaughterhouse scene was super affecting, and I do think the commentary to a degree is like very salient and like worth discussing. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard of like there's a law that says that like you're not allowed to like videotape slaughterhouses in America.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's just like literally like corporations were just like, well, we can't do our job if you show people how we do our job because it would traumatize people too much. And it's like, oh God, like
Mhm.
the Supreme Court heard that. And this is like before we got to like the Sith Supreme Court that we have now. Like it was like a supposedly like more level-headed Supreme Court. And even they were like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a really interesting like lens to look at this whole movie through of like, yeah, if it wants to stay true to life, you know, this super pig, like everything else, is gonna just keep getting slaughtered if it means a company makes money.
Right. Bong Joon-ho and his producer actually visited a real slaughterhouse in Colorado to prepare for that scene. And I guess they were pretty horrified to the point where they became vegan for at least a little while.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Did this
I gotta-
movie make either of you want to not eat meat?
Yeah, I feel like it.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm watching it with wife of the podcast, Nicole, who is a vegetarian,
Wife and
and
Steen.
and I'm looking at her, I was like, gosh, she's already doing it. And I'm like, fuck, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, my wife and I, as soon as the movie was done, we're gonna have some friends over for a brunch, and she just turned to me and goes, "So you're getting turkey bacon tomorrow morning, right? Not regular
Wait,
bacon." I was like,
is that
"Yeah,
better?
that's not a pig."
Yeah, not a pig.
That's the takeaway from the movie. Don't eat pigs specifically.
Yeah, pigs are smart
You
and
know, like
intelligent. Turkeys are not.
they are. They are. They yeah, and I even feel like they even said, I think Bong Joon-ho has even said the point isn't even necessarily to be anti-meat. It's just like, again, that like kind of capitalism grind that like brought this industry to where it is. Like I think even Misha and her grandfather eat meat, but it's like the chickens that they have running around their farms or like whatever they grow there, like that kind of stuff.
No,
So-
it's ethical consumption. And
Yes,
like,
ethical comes exactly.
yeah, no, and Bong Joon-ho is the man for that. Like all of his movies have a very like anti-capitalist slant to them. So it's always fun to see like these companies just give him like buckets of money to like call them pieces of shit. Um always a fan of that. But I just think that like with this one, I don't know, it missed the mark for me, I guess. Not necessarily like it missed the mark. Like I'm not gonna make that judgment. People really like this movie. But I don't know. I did find it interesting because like did you see that headline that came out recently about how New Zealand just granted personhood to whales?
No, I didn't.
No.
I
Tell
thought
me
it
more.
was very prescient. I'll send you the article to link it in the show notes. But basically, it says tribal leaders from New Zealand, the Cook Islands, Tonga, and French Polynesia have signed an international law giving whales and dolphins the same rights as people. The compact, called He Waka Putanga Moana, is an attempt to strengthen protections for these cetaceans.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
like, I think that means like if you're like a whaler and like you do that to something in like their waters, that's tantamount to like murder.
Look at that.
Which like I don't know, it just on the heels of watching this movie, just thinking about that and like yeah, because I think we can all agree. Okja at least is like super intelligent and basically
Totally.
like a person.
I mean, he saves her from the cliff. Like he
yeah,
like
that cliff scene. I was
Yeah,
like, okay,
wow.
that thing has a soul. Which can we even get into that? Like, we know what like GMOs are in terms of like genetically modified like foods, like veggies and stuff like that they make. You know, like watermelons the size of your car or whatever. But like they just like made a whole pig, like they just made like a whole new meat and like gave it like life and consciousness, and that just feels like that feels like way more effort than capitalism would go into. I think, I don't know.
I mean, realistically, yeah. I mean, I think there's like a satirical element to that, right?
Yeah, no, I get
Yeah.
you. It's just like there's something so wild about like you made like the cutest, biggest animal.
That's intelligent too. Like, can
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
splice that
like
gene out?
I don't know. It's very like Rick and Morty, where like you really just get into like why.
Existential questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was actually, I didn't, yeah, when I was reading about the creature effects of it, like Bong Joon-ho drew all of the designs himself before handing it over to the VFX people. But like he had in his initial designs, he had like lips, like on the like Super Pig on Okja, and they
Ugh.
end up being like, that just makes it look really, really creepy, and they had to have taken off the lips.
That was a smart move. I mean, it's just a hippo elephant, which like
Mhm.
I like, you know?
Slash manatee, kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that like I mean, should we just get into the creature effects of it all? Do we have anything more to say about the movie specifically?
I do have some more stuff actually.
Okay.
We'll get there, but there's some interesting trivia. I thought there was so this is kind of a long one, but it was an interesting one where you're talking about like how Bong Joon-ho isn't really fluent in English, and so there's like some challenges there. But and Jake, I don't know if you heard this piece of trivia, but there's a deliberate mistranslation of the English subtitles at one point. So when Stephen Ewan, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Stephen Ewan
Yeah.
is about to jump out of the truck at the beginning. According to the subtitles, his parting words to Misha are, "Misha, try learning English. It opens new doors." Remember that?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what he actually says in Korean, Misha, also, my name is Kusun Boom. So apparently according to this quote, it's a flagrant mistranslation, but one that would only be apparent to those who can speak both languages. Moreover, the mistranslation is a clever subversion of the supremacy of English. The subtitle is a command to learn English, something every Korean student has heard throughout their life, but to actually understand what K is saying, you would have to know Korean. There's an added layer of comedy to the name itself, which has the whiff of an old country about it. That name, Kusun Boom, is sort of like kind of like this, like kind of like country bumpkin kind of name, essentially. As Ewan said in an interview, when he says that name, it's supposed to be funny if you're Korean because that's a dumb name. There's no way to translate that. It's like a comedy drop off the chasm between countries. So,
Well,
yeah.
they got us.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
thought that's kind of a funny thing. Yeah. Yeah. They did get us. Good for them.
Did they? That's so like just like layered.
It really is. Yeah. It's just, I feel like it was just like something like they wrote and they're like, that's pretty funny. But like to explain it, it takes a lot of explaining, you know?
yeah. That's cool though.
Yeah. I kind of like that. That was cool. The other thing I wanted to ask you guys when we're spending time with like the Tilda Swinton character, Lucy. And there was kind of this like looming threat of the Nancy, her sister, right? And we find out that's the twin, which is, there's lots of commentary there that like CEO stepping down, her twin takes over, like CEOs being interchangeable, I'm sure. But I had kind of this thought, and this would have been wild. I don't think the movie would have had room for it. I thought maybe like Nancy was like a split personality for Lucy. Did anyone else feel like that was going that way?
I thought Nancy was like dead or something.
I thought like she talked to her on the phone, and then like there's like the scene where she was like, Nancy's here, like that kind of stuff. And like I was like, oh, maybe it's her, like this whole time. Like maybe she like was Nancy and fucked up the company, but like then got like some like, I don't know, cosmetic surgery and looks a little different or something, because there was that remember what you used to look like portrait, you know?
I just feel like they didn't do enough with Tilda Swinton's character, and it just felt like maybe if after a couple more drafts of the script, her character and Jake Gyllenhaal's character would have merged.
Interesting. As kind of like
It's just
a showman,
yeah,
kind of like a tech CEO.
yeah, like Elon Musk type, you
Yeah.
know? Like it just felt like one too many characters kind of like signifying the same like point of view.
It was also just maybe a couple years shy of when we were really in tune to those kinds of like people in real life too.
Speak for yourself. I knew Mr. Burns and all rich people were dummies for years.
Fair. Yeah, fair. Yeah. Um, yeah. Wow. Just naming this cast was pretty stacked, wasn't it?
It was super stacked, but again, like it just I I would be curious to see what like an all Korean version of this would look like, and I feel like it would be better for it. Like if the story stays in Korea, all of it. Did you know there was a post credit scene?
Yes.
I
Yes.
saw that on accident. I was like, "What the hell is this? Did I miss a part?" And I don't know. Like I don't know. What did you guys think of the post credit scene?
Yeah, I did actually see it on accident. We were talking about the whole turkey bacon thing, and then all of a sudden it just pops on in, and um, it was almost like a pity shot or a pity chaser for you just watch this entire movie, probably depressed as hell, and then you just kind of had this lighthearted, I'm out of jail and we're gonna go do the next heist or um, whatever like activist event that they were trying to stage and that such, and then just seeing the entire bus except for the one woman all of a sudden put on black ski masks was like, wait a second, what's going on here? So it was kind of almost like a palate cleanser, in a sense that I enjoyed, though it felt very, very not the movie in itself.
Yeah, I think that's a really great way to put it. I think that it's like they put it in there as like this kind of like, man, you just watched a lot of heavy stuff here in the last like 20 minutes. Like here's kind of a fun, goofy thing to end on. What'd you think, Khalid?
I liked it, I guess. And when you put it that way, it's not terrible or anything. I'm not that I thought it was terrible to begin with. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. I the it was like one more scene to just be like, just in case you're wondering, they nothing changes for them either. They also just they got one more person. That's it.
They got the driver from the tunnel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
which
character growth
I'm
right
really
there.
glad we got
He had his
closure
arc.
on that guy.
I was wondering about
He-
him for a while.
Yeah, the guy who hated that company like ended
Yeah.
up making a website about how much he hates that company.
Yeah, I liked it.
and then found love,
Yeah.
or implied love.
I mean, technically all he did was ask a woman about her hair color and nickname, but yeah, maybe that led to like true love.
He's going for it, I guess. I like that. Reminds me of that scene in when they're in the tunnel, and the guy when the driver's like, I'm not gonna do any more work for this. He's like, this is what happens when you don't have company loyalty, and then he gets slammed with the door in the face. Was kind of a fun bit of comedy.
And that's like the end of that guy's involvement in the movie. Like,
No, he comes back. He's there when she's in the airport.
still though, like it's like
Yeah.
he is implied to be a way bigger character. I feel like based on
At
the
first.
first act,
Yeah.
and then he just kind of drops out.
Well, he's like the kind of middle management in Seoul, right, for the company. Basically, like his job was to
Yeah.
get her there, to get her to the airport and get her to America, and he did that.
I guess see, and that's the thing is like I think like the host is like way more effective to me because it really is about like a core like cast of like real people, the family, and like you really like dig into like what is like worthwhile about them when like and the daughter when the monster is chasing after them and everything. And then with this one, it's like you're really dialed into like the relationship between Mija and Okja, but because of the plot, like they're not together for a lot of the movie, and it doesn't really feel like you're connected to anybody else. And like a lot of that is like most of the characters need a fucking translator, that's like part of the joke, like they
Mhm.
have a whole thing about translations, and it's like actually like a crucial plot at one point even, but like again, like it makes for like a little less like meaningful stuff happening, and it just feels like stuff happening for the sake of stuff happening.
Yeah, and I think to what Jake was saying earlier about there's like character elements that weren't very fleshed out, and I feel like we talked about this before in other movies that there are times when like theme will win out over like technical plot elements, and like basically a lot of the characters were archetypes, right? They were like very generalized, kind of in a sense, almost straw man characters to represent an idea versus being like human characters. And I mean, that's, again, I think that's also fine. I don't think I think movies can do that, and that's fine. But like, it's sort of again, adds to that fairy tale piece of it, I think.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would
I
definitely
mean,
agree with that. I think you put into words what I was trying to say earlier, where it's like that straw man like archetype of like, all right, in this type of setup, this is how this character would react. Like um the woman who was part of the ALF
Mhm.
during the scene with Okja going into the factory and that such too. Like it almost felt like forced in a sense because it was like, yep, you would expect that character to have that reaction thing, and then for like Stephen Yoon's character to just drop out of nowhere that like he lied about the translating back and forth and that such is like, what was the point of the lie and why is that like that whole plot point of him getting kicked out of the group like almost like relevant to like the story and how that was happening.
Yeah, there could have been more there, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess so he could be the one that's not in the group to show up to save the day.
yeah, no, I get stuff on a story level. It's just that like because I know how good Bong Joon-ho is as a filmmaker, it makes it like a little less forgivable when like things aren't like moving as fluidly as you're used to with his films.
Or Khalid, because you know how good he is it more forgivable because you can let the man have mistakes?
No.
Wow. Maybe the real monster all along is Khalid.
I'm not gonna leave a like LeBron James game of like basketball and just be like, well, he had an off night, but I gotta give him credit. Like, no, I paid to see LeBron James dunk.
Right, fair enough. I have one last point I wanted to make before getting into the monster. And I want to know, I bet Khalid, you may have picked up on this, but did you notice that Paul Dano's character was J and Stephen Ewan's character was K?
I
J and
did.
K?
I
Was it an
did.
MLB connection?
Maybe, I don't know. Is that like movie a big deal to Bong Joon-ho at all?
I don't know, but we could say it is.
I guess. I mean, it's like the slightest of nods.
Yeah. Probably not on purpose, but I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. I mean, again, like it would mean more if like their relationship like was more evocative of J and K. But I didn't see like I didn't really see the parallels.
Which 100% makes me feel like it's not intentional.
Exactly.
At all. In
Yeah.
the slightest, but
Yeah.
it was funny.
Yeah.
All right, shall we monster you guys?
It's
Let's monster.
monster.
Yeah. All right, so we're talking about Okja / the race of new super pigs that had been brought to life in this movie, I guess. So, as I mentioned before, Bong Joon-ho storyboarded and sketched much of the creature design on his own prior to the start of the movie. The VFX then was done by Method Studios and supervised by Eric Jan de Boer. And so he was kind of leading it all. And he kind of describes Okja as like a hybrid animal with elements of elephant, pig, hippo, and various canines. There was an original design by a creature designer who worked for Method, and they ended up creating like a 5-inch long sculpture that they scanned and turned into the CGI asset, they call it. So they made it's called a maquette, I think it is, where they make this like 3D model basically. Then he says they built the creature from inside out, creating skeleton with muscle rig and several skin layers, because of the ability that Okja or the super pigs were designed to make lots of pork. As a story point, they had to portray her as, quote, luxurious without making her look grotesque or unappealing. That's kind of interesting in like the design standpoint. But from like an animation and like actual like creature in camera standpoint, they talked about, there's actually a really cool featurette. I have this on Criterion Blu-ray and 4K. There's a featurette on there that was really cool, all about the making of the creature effects. They talk about how the biggest challenge was the closeness between Misha and Okja, because there's so much like physicality there of like her like touching, holding, being inside of the mouth, rolling with it. And so they had to do a lot of work on like really figuring out like what's going on with the environment when the creature is there. So and they ultimately ended up having something physical on set before animating over it. They ultimately created like different kinds of puppets. They took made like a PVC pipe frame of Okja at certain points to basically have something there that the actors could interact with. And get a sense for the space. Some of the puppets were just a head, but some of them were like more like larger things. They actually had a cardboard cutouts of like the scale model of Okja, so that they could count for like where shadows would be coming in too. So that was often on set. That's pretty interesting stuff. But what I thought was the most interesting piece about like the practical piece of it was they wanted to create like this bond from like Okja and Misha to feel kind of like real. And so they had one actor, or not even an actor, his name is Stephen Klee. He was an animation supervisor who was working on the project. They had him do all of the puppeteering, as well as wear this full on costume in certain scenes. And it's the images are very funny. You have to look them up. But he wears this costume and interacts with the actor who plays Misha, which is An Seo Hyun, I think is how you say it. So they actually had these two playing off each other, so they could kind of build this relationship and like play off each other as actors. So like they like worked together, and so she wasn't just working with like nothing space all the time. So I thought that was really interesting.
I will say I really liked the effects. That's something I've been like talking about from the beginning of the episode, but like really like they flex with some of the shots they do with Okja and how he like people interact with him. The one that really comes to mind is like that shot of like the first time Jake Gyllenhaal's character sees him and like runs his hand across like his side, and like that shot, that depth, and it's just like, it's not real, but damn, it looks so real.
Right. Yeah, it's really cool, like really well done. I feel like I remember, so we did The Host was like very first episode on Frankenstein's podcast, and we talked about like like some great themes, but like the CGI of the creature isn't the best by today's standards, right? Like, but this one really holds up, I feel like. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but the visuals of it look really, really good.
I mean, yeah, no, that's to this day some of the most like striking like visual effects I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, and I think that's all really like balanced again by like how, I mean, generally just a good of a director that Bong Joon-ho is, like at like camera shots and like use of color. Like I said before, it's just like really interesting to see what he does when he's making a movie.
Yeah, those the attention to detail that we saw, even like there were some shots where you literally were seeing Okja's eyes to get essentially her reaction and that such, and it surprised me how much detail that you would be that you actually saw in that and was able to convey that sort of reaction and emotion.
Right. One of the interesting set pieces too that I had a little bit of background on was the underground shopping center sequence, basically when like kind of Okja was just running through and like causing havoc.
Yeah,
that was a really fun sequence, I thought.
I liked it.
But the VFX supervisor talks about how the people making the animators and the effects people were like, how are we gonna like simulate this? And he kind of like made like an offhanded comment of like, I don't know, like get a van and run it through the place or something. And then apparently they called the next day and were like, does the van have to be a certain color? And he's like, what? He's like, no, we got a minivan. Does it have to be a certain color for like the, the animation and all that? And so they got one and they got the right color. And basically what they did is they kind of like attached like the frame, like an Okja kind of frame to this minivan, and basically drove the minivan through that route and filmed it and then animated over that.
That's pretty badass.
That was super cool.
Yeah. Walking the being in Seoul before and walking in that kind of underground mall, like it totally brought me back there, and I was like, I can see this happening here. Actually, if a Super Pig was running down, like I felt like it wasn't like it felt extra real to me because being in Seoul and being in an underground mall like that, that was really well done, in my opinion.
I just imagine Jake like watching the movie, going like, "Oh yeah, yep, Super Pig would definitely mess them all up. Yep,
Yeah.
that part's true, babe."
Yeah. Very realistic, yes. Jake, how long ago were you in Seoul?
Back in 2016 was the last time. So I went twice, once back in 2009 and then 2016.
Oh, that's cool. I'd like to go. I think that'd be a really cool
Same.
city to visit.
Yeah, yeah. And now that I'm thinking about it, the movie came out in 2017, right? So I could have been in that mall when that happened. Who would have thought?
You may have been there.
No, he went in 2016. He said the movie
I
came
know.
out.
2017. They could have filmed it.
Was it 2017?
Yeah.
Why did I think it was 2014? Yeah, I guess so.
Because you don't. I don't know. Because you don't understand how movies work, right? That's what we've learned from this whole exchange.
If there's one takeaway from all of this, it's that I don't understand how most things work.
That's true. That's true. I have a special surprise for everybody in this one.
Oh, wow.
Our listeners, for Khalid, for Jake, for all of us coming back to this episode. I was thinking about it, watching this movie, and I just really wanted to know, would the movie work if you replaced Okja with Four Bears?
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
Call back.
Four Bear test is back, baby.
Oh my god! Wow, I was not consulted.
Yeah.
This is blowing me away. Wow.
Surprise.
Okay. Well, for those of you who unfortunately might not know what the Four Bears test is, it's where we ask, would the movie be the same or different if you replace the creature we're talking about with four bears? I think that with this one, a lot of the plot makes less sense, and in that, why are they like sending four bears to 26 different countries and like having people raise them for PR reasons? I guess you could say like if they're genetically modified bears, which would still be bears. If they're just bear size compared to Okja, a lot of like the stuff still works in terms of stunt work and like just like how the people would react to it, trying to stop it, trying to capture it. Like Okja's never really presented as like a super difficult threat or anything like that. It's just a big animal. So yeah, I guess you'd have to do like a little finagling with the script, but yeah, this is a pass. Yeah.
All right. So pass the Four Bears test, huh?
Yeah, like I mean, this and the host just like clear passes in my book.
Yeah. I wonder if Bong Joon-ho asks himself about the Four Bears test when making movies.
I don't. I know for a fact he does.
Oh, good. Good to know.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, awesome. You almost fell into that trap of the thing. I mean, I know like when we're thick into the Four Bears territory, you'd always modify the bears. Like, oh, but if the bears could like fly, it's like they can't. That's not the test, right?
I guess it's not the test, but
you're almost like modified bears. Like it's got to be regular bears.
I want to be honest, man. This is still content. All right. If you give me a yes or no question, I'm gonna vamp. I'm gonna stretch it out.
Fair. I wanted to circle back just slightly to something that you said. You said finagling the script. I would say, speaking of finagling, Khalid, finagling things.
Ew.
Hey, you got to take opportunities where they lie.
Not all opportunities.
Yeah. Fight or flirt? How does that work here?
Why are you asking that like it ever works like on a normal way? Like, you're trying to make me feel like extra weird about like flirting with Okja versus like all the other normal creatures I've said I would like have relationships with.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so fight or flirt. I'm going to like, yeah. So it's exactly what it sounds like. Would I fight with the monster or flirt with it? And in this case, well, I'm not gonna fight fucking Okja. It's like the nicest animal ever. Like the one time it gets mad and hurts anybody, it feels so bad about it. Like I'm not gonna like they're giving it Disney eyes. Like it cries and like my soul shatters. So like I don't know in what scenario I can like that dude who had like the silenced pistol at the end on Okja's head. I was like, that could not be me. I couldn't spend all day slaughtering Okjas. So yeah, I would. The thing about it is, like, I didn't raise Okja from birth. You know what I mean? Like, that's him. That's Mija and Okja's dynamic. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a super intelligent creature that's compassionate and fun and athletic. You know, has a really awesome like place in South Korea in the mountains. You know, like those views were to die for. And yeah, it's just got like a really great like home life in a way that a lot of these monsters don't. So like on top of being too adorable to kill, I also just like feel like we could make it work.
All right.
So I would flirt. What about you, Joe?
This is your thing, Khalid. You know, like
Yeah, you don't want to own this. I get it.
yeah, no, this is your thing. Yeah.
Wait, are you like I don't know. I think it's okay to flirt with Okja.
Yeah, Okja's super cute.
Yeah.
You know, like I love Okja. Like it's yeah.
What about
Yeah,
you,
I
Jake?
agree.
Would
I agree.
you'd flirt?
I feel like the only way I would be able to justify the fight answer would be if I was the individual that was using the silencer pistol. Out of all the ways to um, kill Okjas, the super pigs, right? That's like having that like no context into this animal, this creature, this being, and like knowing that they're more than just what we've learned through the movie and seeing how events play out and really getting to know Okja. Like that's the only way that I would be able to say fight is if I was working in a slaughterhouse, like in that position. But I also could
But
never
would you
see
find
myself
yourself?
do that.
Would you find yourself in a slaughterhouse?
No.
Okay.
Life has many twists and turns, Joe.
Yeah, but yeah.
We might any one of us could become executioners at an Okja factory.
God, Jesus.
It's just we take a hit of one wrong drug and suddenly we're just capping Okjas.
God.
Oh,
Every time you said like a not so nice thing about this movie, though, Khalid, it made me feel sad because I was like, oh, I don't want to hurt Okja's feelings.
okay. Well, Okja didn't make the movie.
I know, but that's what it felt like.
I mean, Okja can only take responsibility for so much. Like if he's going to guilt me every time I have an opinion, like that's something we're gonna have to bring up in counseling.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. No, I really love this movie. I thought it was great. So, had a good time with it. Jake, you said you liked it overall?
Yeah, I really did. I think there was a couple points that feels like it could have been less like cardboard archetypes for characters and that such, but overall I'm kind of just a sucker for what's the message that the director is trying to say and really capturing that as a takeaway rather than being more into the details of the story or how things get executed and that such. So I enjoyed it on that front and that such too, and really appreciated the visual differences between the mountain home and then Seoul even being bright but like a little bit more dull, and then you get to New York and it's just like very, very, very like not vibrant at all, and then you get to the slaughterhouse and it looks like it's it should be like storming and lightning and darkness and something straight out of like Lord of the Rings. So I appreciated that almost like that journey deeper, that journey that like deeper into like the darkness, if that makes sense.
That's a really great point, actually. Yeah, just how the scenery and the visuals kind of represent the different like layers of the journey. Yeah, I like that. Cool. Well, that being said, let's move on to our final segment of the show. Our oh, that was like a real throat clear, actually. Our What the Fandom segment, in which we share something that we're just into at the moment, watching, reading, listening to, whatever that may be. may or may not have anything to do with monsters, may or may not have anything to do with Okja, most likely won't. And we'll let you go last, Jake. We usually let our guests go last. But Khalid, how about you? What the fandom with you this week?
Thanks for asking, Joe. My What the Fandom this week is going to be the 2014 album Hosier by the singer Hoser. Or Hosier. I don't know how to say it.
Nice.
Yeah, just a few of his songs came up in a playlist, so I finally like sat down and listened to the album, which I'm pretty sure this is like a bestseller when it came out. So like I'm very much late to the fan club here, but yeah, it pops. He's really good. He's got like a cool like yodely kind of voice to him. I really like the track Someone New. It's got like a fun little like, I don't know what you would call that, but like when he's just like shifting between notes in like a really like melodic way. But yeah, Hosier by Hoser, or the other way around. Anyways, that's my What the Fandom, Joe. What the fandom with you?
Thanks for asking, Khalid. I've had like a super busy couple of weeks just in terms of like work taking up a lot of time and just like family events. So haven't gotten a chance to do a whole lot of new stuff. I will say that we've recorded a couple new episodes of our Deep Space Love podcast, myself and Nicole, and our Star Trek podcast. We have a couple fun episodes coming out in May. So I just wanted to put a plug in for that.
Yeah.
But on that same wavelength, I just say the one new thing that we've been watching is the 5th and final season of Star Trek Discovery on Paramount Plus. That's been going on week to week. There's been 5 episodes so far dropped. We've watched the first 4, and kind of being a fan of that show since 2017 when it first came out. We actually went to like a local theater, had like viewing parties for it, just like Star Trek returning to the screen. So we like went week to week in this theater and watched it. So it's kind of as a show got a little special place in my heart. So I'm bummed it's leaving, but I'm excited for the journey that it's on this season. There's some really cool callbacks to the older series. It's been just kind of a fun adventure. It really swings for some really ambitious ideas. So I've been really enjoying that. I'd say that's my plug, is watch some Star Trek Discovery. So hopefully we continue to get more Star Trek. How about Mr. Jake? What the fandom with you?
Well, thanks for asking. I'm not actually super into finding like movies or TV shows and that such, but the 2 books I've been um, starting at this past month, and usually it's me reading a couple pages a night because then my brain falls asleep. But
I feel that.
essentially, yeah, right. Parenthood. Anyways,
Mhm.
so the first book is called Slow Productivity by Cal Newport, and essentially it's trying to answer the question about um, why is productive hustle and capitalism in the American corporate workplace of trying to be as productive as you can is the default norm, and the unsustainability. There's clearly a problem here, and that's such. And this comes from a couple of ideas and books that the author has written beforehand, and then this was the next inevitable question of like, why aren't you able to dedicate 4 to 6 hours of your day, not having to respond to emails and producing things of value and that such, and or like why are we attached to the hyperactive hive mind of emails within the corporate structure and that such too. So this is a nice take that I'm starting to get through of what does it look like to be really truly value add work without having to take time to do the non-value type of things. It is kind of a rehash of some themes that you've seen in the productivity space, but it's kind of a little bit more takes into account the recent events of, well, the pandemic and how the work culture has shaped since then, and some of the trends that you see through TikTok and that such. And then the other book that I've been reading about is called Good Inside by Dr. Becky Kennedy, and with his journey to parenthood and learning that there's certainly things that I didn't know about when it comes to trying to raise a kid and that such. And this is another book trying to get some more added perspective of being able to make sure that I raise a good kid. So that's the book that I've been starting to enjoy, and it's kind of a pushback on the or if you imagine like the pendulum swing between what we might have grown up with in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, and then as of late, the gentle parenting movement is the pendulum swinging the other way. I feel like that this book is trying to get ourselves a little bit more into the center of that pendulum swing in that sense. So.
Jake,
Fascinating.
real quick, Jake, does the book say anything about raising a child on a mountain in South Korea? Like, is that an option?
No, not specifically, but I feel like some of the examples of trying to walk you through the concept that the author explains through could have helped the grandfather, instead of him just being like, "Yeah, I bought you this golden pig, but sold your best friend in the meantime." You could have connected a little bit better. Maybe Misha wouldn't have had gone on this journey in the movie. So, but I guess I wouldn't make the movie would have
That's a
just ended
that's a
after
good
30
point.
minutes.
That is like the worst grandfather in the world. Like the one thing we all know for a fact in the first 5 minutes of that movie is like that girl is like ride or die for that pig. This is the one thing she makes like abundantly clear. It's like her only personality trait for that part of the movie, and then the grandpa just like sells it or like gives it to the company and lies to her. And it's just like, how did you think that was gonna go?
But hey, I got this golden pig for you. It's supposed to be very, very
This is
special and worth a lot of money.
this will replace a creature you've had since like you could like form memories. Well, thank you for the what the fandom guys. Both of the I guess all three of those recommendations were great, and including mine, so four. Before we go, I do also want to say thank you to Jake for joining us. You were awesome. This is a great discussion. Great movie. Um, Also, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our Patreon. If you are new to the show or just haven't caught that yet, we have a new Patreon up, and we just use that as a place to kind of stretch our conversational muscles. We talk about cool things like the Montgomery Brawl a few months ago. We also have done cool segments that we call Frankenbits, where we've talked about like our favorite genre tropes. That was a really cool discussion. We've done like music videos there as well that are like a little more close to like creature discussions or at least like creature adjacent. That was a fun episode. So yeah, Jake is actually a patron, and I think that he would have good things to say about it. I don't know, maybe, but there's also other patrons that have been guests on the episode. So I say that all to say you should check that out, folks, and become a patron if you got a couple bucks a month to spare. And yeah.
So yeah, and also and to add to that, if you like the show, subscribe and give us a nice rating, like a 5-star rating wherever you are, and maybe leave us a nice review. That would also be helpful.
Yes, please rate, review, give us a nice review. That would be awesome. If it's really nice, we might read it on the air. We probably will.
Yeah, we definitely will. Yeah. Yes. I want to echo Khalid. Thank you, Jake, so much for coming on. This was a blast. I was super excited to finally have you. Is there anything that you wanted to share before we close out?
No, I'm a normal person. I don't have a industry background or anything like that, or anything to promote or influence of anything. So just happy to be here and have discuss a nice movie experience.
Yeah. We were happy to have you, and it was great. So I always just got to give you the opportunity to plug something if you have it. But anyway,
we legally have to.
It's in the contract that Khalid
Yeah.
made. Little sausage bits there.
Oh, is this what you had me sign before jumping on here?
Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you both. This was such a great discussion. Thank you everyone at home for listening to another awesome episode of Frankenstein's podcast. Until next time, creep it easy.